Okay, so right now what we're going to be looking at is the sectoring. Sectoring is very important for disarms. You can usually categorize or memorize disarms two different ways, either by the families of disarms, in other words, snakes, vines, what we call sublets or strips, what we call a pit or pinches and crushes, and different families that way, or you can memorize them by the sector that you get to them in. It's up to the individual. We teach it both ways here at Tribe K, but it doesn't matter. It's completely up to the individual. I think it's important for you to know these sectors, so we're going to look at that first, and I'm going to give it from a couple different angles. When the sticks meet, if they meet here, we're just going off of a common angle 1. This is very, very, very common, all right? This would be sector 1. All right, sometimes Guro and Asanto refers to it now as quadrant 1. This is quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. And those are different, I believe, than sectors, okay? Sector 1 would be if I were to reach over the hand here, I could strip and disarm that way. Sector 1 disarm would also be, see, if I snake and disarm, okay? Just depends on what I'm looking to do. But that's sector 1. I could just punch inside sector 1. I could just thrust inside sector 1. I could actually, when I'm hitting, if he covers, grab, come out hitting, and change my perspective in sector 1. Entirely up to the individual that's fighting. Nevertheless, this is sector 1. This is sector 2. Most common disarms for sector 2 are the vine, which we're going to look at in just a minute. You then have sector 3. Sector 3 is on, hold your stick up, this side of the stick here. Usually that's accomplished when they move into the cambiata. A lot of the disarms that we've seen from the double stick, or we'll see later on today, are done out of sector 3. That's through here, and again, that's usually because the stick passes through on a cambiata. Sector 4 is here, and typically that would be I would grab the stick down here. See how I can hit? I can strip this way, or on a sector 4, when I pick it up, I can strip this way coming through, which I personally really like. A lot of people don't expect that to come, and it gives you a very powerful hit. Because see, as this travels through, you see the wind up with the hand here is tremendous. And this hit's going to go to either the head, the body, or the hand. As I'm holding his thumb, or I can be holding the backside of his arm, it doesn't matter. I am pushing through there. What I don't want to do, or would prefer not to do, and that can be done with the sword, by the way, is that when I pick this up, I'm disseminating. That's probably not the right word. I'm dissipating Guro Joey's energy. In other words, when I do this, as he's hitting, I'm letting that energy pass through. You notice a gunting hit here to the hand. If this were the blade, the edge would be here, so I would be pushing on the flat side, okay? As I disarm, what I don't want to do is smash my arm against this. So what I'd rather do is, as I'm coming through, place the arm on the stick and then push through very hard. You can see how it still has a great effect. Now you could aim that at another opponent. Let's say that heavy bag over there is one of his compadres, one of his opponents. So as I pick up this sector 4 and come in here, I might be trying to aim that right at his opponent, come through and hit. Notice also as I'm working these disarms, I'm still holding onto the hand so I can then work the locking and the controlling. Okay, we don't lock usually to control too much. Anyone pick you up? To control as much on the battlefield, that would usually be to break so the guy can't pick up a weapon again. But nowadays, because of compassion, we want to injure in degree, so we want to try not to hurt the person we're training with. Okay, the next sector, if we're looking at these in order, 1, 2, 3, 4 would be 5, and 5 just comes underneath my own arm here. That could be for several reasons, but there's the strip typically done out of 5. Again, see, out of 5 is here, or if you look at it here, that's 4, but 5 could easily be here, and you see the strip. That's usually the one done out of 5. It could be a slight cambiata. As I come in there and grab, that's still really sector 5. It's not 3. Either way you want to look at it, though, if we meet here, and I grab the hand there, I can just, right from here, punch that out. And I would normally aim it right into my opponent, which would be Guro Joey in this case, the stick hitting him and distracting him, so I could set up here for a Likos takedown in order to hit. And again, I say Likos, I like that term. It's a Filipino term, but it could be, you couldn't use the word puter kepala. That's fine, it doesn't matter, that's an Indonesian term. We prefer to use the Filipino terms, or just say spinning throw, it doesn't matter, all right? Again, with the sector 5, you can also use your shoulder, see, and hit. There are many, all right? Sector 6. Sector 6 is right here on the puño side. Most commonly done is stripped out this way. Now, when we do that, you would usually jam in close range. You can use the leg. This is great to use the foot because you can really kick it out. Again, if there's an opponent over there you're trying to get to, you can launch the weapon at the opponent. That sector 6 disarm can be done many ways. Against the hip, against the foot. I've seen some guys pull and drag it down on the ground and step on it to pull it out. And then, of course, you have your locking. So that's your sector 6 in here. All right. For sector 7, it's a little bit tricky to understand. I'm going to do my best to explain it. Sector 7 is really, a lot of people go, well, 6 is here, 7 is here, and they're right. But how are you going to get here and come? You're going to go like this in combat? That's awkward. What happens is, as my stick strikes, it returns, and my hand winds up in there. That's sector 7. Okay, and then your disarms are essentially still the same. You see, as I turn, I could pull that out of there. It doesn't matter. There are many ways you can get that out.
Oh yeah, like a Wittick.
Yeah, see, it's a Wittick. I hit and come back. That's it. And there's my sector 7. Okay? Now, sector 8 is here on the backhand side. Sector 9 is here. Sector 10 is here. Sector 11 is here. And sector 12 is here on the back side of the arm. So let's look at some of the disarms from these sectors. If I go to sector 8, I have a snake from the backhand side, and I would strip it out there. Be careful when you puño strip that. I'm doing that gently. See, my sector 8 here, okay? If I snake this, when I use this puño, rather than just turn and torque to snake that out, if I grab this puño, it's going to launch the stick at Coach Joey's head to protect your head. See? And if you pull that hard enough, it's really going to launch at him. It will probably not be enough to knock him out or even hurt him, but it's going to distract him, which is what you want to set up for another attack. All right, so again, I'm going to get to this. Let's use an angle 2 to get to the 8 there. All right. You can also disarm here off that sector. You can disarm, instead of the stick being up, the stick might be down. Still the same thing. Notice this is going to travel through. It could be the same one we saw earlier. See, I check it, it comes under, and I strip it through this way. Really, they're still all off of sector 8. Now, you look at this, you go, well, what about sector 9? Sector 9, see, I can come right back in. I can snake. Okay, in sector 9 here, I can do a vine on this side. And I have 2 variations to that vine. The first vine is that I come real close. You see how the proximity of our arms are very, very, very close. What I do when I take, and he can do it to me too, I lift up to peel his stick out. The second variation of that, when I do this vine, is that I keep distance between us. Oftentimes it's going to pinch their thumb, very uncomfortable. I try to be nice and not do that in training. And here it's just like the vine you normally do in training. I'm just going to push down and out. Boom, boom, boom. Okay? So that's 8, 9, 10 is an interesting one because I can cambiata back this way and strip here. In sector 10, that's usually called a word I can't remember at this moment. I'll think of it in a second. It's a docking term. What I want to do is, as I push around, it's almost like we cambiata this way. Try not to smack ourselves in the face. When we cambiata this way, off the 1, off the 2, we would cambiata this way, or what's known as pluma or umbrella. And so that's what we're doing here, okay? Alto cata serrata is the name of the term. It's a docking term. When a boat comes into port, it docks this way. The boat doesn't pull up and park in a parking space like a car. So as we come into sector 10 here, you see, we would do that alto cata serrata here. And there are 3 ways. That's the first one. The second one when we meet is that I put the stick in my armpit, just gives me a slightly tighter grip, and I clear the arm here. The third one, when I do this and meet, as I come around, not only do I put the stick in my armpit, but I still hold on to it over here, and I'm going to bob and weave, usually because he's thinking about punching, see? As I bob and weave, that strips it out. See how it sets up for the kinjit here. Even if I don't get him in the kinjit, he steps back, I'm already sailing in with the double stick attack. And that's on the, or you can have this one. And that's on the sector 10. Okay, and a lot of these from the backhand side, you can go back to your original ones that you do on angle 1. For instance, see, I can snake right from there on 8, 9, 10, on sector 10. You see, I can go right back into my snake here. You see that? So it just depends on how you're looking at this. You see, and go right back into the snake from there. All right. Then we have 8, 9, 10, sector 11. Same thing. I can come back in, snake. See, it doesn't matter. There's so many different options. I can come in, vine, and there's a bunch of different vines you can do. We're gonna look at in just a minute. Sector, that was 11. So sector 12, which is the last one, is here on the back side of the arm. We've already looked at that one at least once this way. Or if I get here, how do I strip it like this? Well, I can't really strip it, so instead I just use the leg like the other variation here. Except because I'm on the back side, I just twist it out here. So that's your sector 12. Now, let's look specifically at families, because sometimes it's easier to memorize disarms by families. The snake family, for instance. When Joey gives the angle 1, snaking around, we know our assists would be the puño, the fist, the forearm, the stick itself, the stick pointed down. When you do the puño, you can either hit here or come over. When I come over, I like to scoop. It usually really clears that arm, and you see how it gives me his backside? At that point, I can hit, keep moving, and sector. And keep in mind, whenever you do these disarms, you want to make sure, see, you're moving. Constantly moving. Don't stand there. I'm standing here for the sake of the camera, but you don't want to do that when you practice these, okay? A tidbit on the snake, which we talked about in the level 1 curriculum, is grab the arm here. Let's say he lets go. I get it out. I still now have the ability to start doing different locks. You see, from here they have some real nasty ones here. See, and they pick it up. I'm not going to do that. That's really mean. But there's some really nasty ones. You end up holding them backwards like this. All right. Really, really nasty locks. So you have the assists, again, for the snake. Now you also have the snake off the angle 2. Here. And then you have the snakes from the cambiata. So let's look at the cambiata. See, I can snake it this way. The idea is to remember whether you're going clockwise or counterclockwise with your snakes. The ones we did off the angle 1 were counterclockwise. The ones we're doing now on the cambiata are clockwise. You have a full and a half. This is a full snake off the cambiata going clockwise. But the half is really when I use the puño assist. Right here. And if I can puño assist on top, you see, I can puño assist on the bottom. Give you a couple there. Again, make sure you're moving. See, puño assist on top and puño assist on the bottom. All right. The next ones would be the pull and strip. So from here, cambiata, pull and strip, and cambiata from the inside here, See, you pull and strip like that. Watch the face when you pull and strip there. All right, so as a quick review, the cambiata, I assisted by going here with the half snake, here. I pulled and stripped from the inside here, and I pulled and stripped here. Let me get to that one more time. So as I go here like this, you see it's here, and that's the strip. If it doesn't come out, which sometimes it doesn't always, see, I go like this and it doesn't come out. Well, it did come out. It's okay. And it doesn't come out. See, it doesn't come out here. Then I can just pull on the back side of that puño. I can also pull on the back side of the puño anyway once I get him into position here, which is the inside pull and strip. So anytime I can get the hand here. Keep in mind I can also, once I'm in this position, bring in my locking. Very uncomfortable. So you can strip that out. He may try to grab it with the other hand. It's going to be hard because it's kind of pinned in here though. All right, so those are your cambiata ones. Then again, you've got your family of of strips. We've looked at the snake. We've looked at the cambiata family. Let me think if I thought of all the cambiata family ones. A couple more off the cambiata would be typically they do it here. And we looked at these from the sectors. Or if the stick's pointed down, they strip it there. Or as it comes around all the way through, they strip it there. So those are all for the cambiata. So you see you can group those via the cambiata. You can lock from the cambiata as well. See, by coming over and locking the arm first. Once you do that, see, at that point you have the licos. And from here, you can strip a number of ways. It just depends on how you want to do it. You can come back through. There's your strip. Sorry about that. Hit. You can lock. Okay? It just depends on what you want to do. All right. I showed you the altocara cerradas already from the sector, so we don't need to look at those. Let's look at the vines. Some of these are very important. The vine from the angle 1, the most common one is placed here, and it's turned this way. Sometimes when they do it and they check, they will hit here first and then kind of bring it back as they're slamming it in. It's like that rather than the fulcrum. It's more of a push-pull motion. Okay? Sometimes when they do the vine, they use the puño. When you use the puño, that's the same push-pull motion. I'm pulling back and kind of lifting up and coming over like that. Some people say, well, what about your hand here? I'm just going to fire that off as the puño, and I've still got another hand here to hit with. So if I can use the top end of the stick, also known as the puñá, all right, I can use the puño. I can also do that same one from, say, an angle 1, coming over top this way. I can do the same one coming over the top using the puño. If I tie it in with my contradas here, you see, it might be there. It could be a lot of things. It could be that I tie it in, I hit here, I smash that there, and then put it right in there, and it comes right out. The last one I like to show is here. And to get this to work, see, if I do this, the problem is it's not very effective because I'm going against his fingers here, and it's real hard to peel out. So instead what I do is I reach up and I grab my own stick and pull. I twist. Works very well. Hard to resist. So again, once I'm here, right up under there, and pop that right out. Has the same basic mechanics as the vine, or at least hopefully in combat. You see this motion right here. You just grab your own stick and pull, and that twists it out. And if he gets it, you strip it again. Now, something you should know about disarming while we're talking about these topics, and we're going to get into the strips, the sablets. What's up? Oh, okay.
No, I was just saying the reason it's not there is because you're going easily. If you whip it.
Yeah, if you whip it, it's going to fly.
You're trying to catch it, it's like...
A couple things to add about this is that you usually want to impact the hand. Let me explain. Somebody called this a percussive technique. Obviously you want to smash here. You may also want to hit here or here before doing any of these disarms. Okay, always try to percussively hit. Grab the thumb when you're doing the strips. There's your first one. So let's look at this. Okay, as I do the inside deflection here, I grab the thumb, the pad of the thumb, as I strip. They call these incidental disarms because the idea is that I'm trying to hit, and as I'm trying to hit, I incidentally disarm. They at one point called them accidental. There ain't nothing accidental about that. You got to try for it. Now, what I'm referring to by the pat of the thumb is this meaty portion of Guro Joey's thumb right here. It's like a chicken drumstick. That's what you want to get. If you defeat that, it's going to be extremely hard for him to hold onto the weapon. So that's what you want to practice grabbing a lot when you're doing your inside deflections. You're turning the hand here. As you strip it out, you see the hit. Now, some of you may ask, okay, Guro, when I do this same one, a lot of times when I get here, the guy turns his wrist, and I didn't get it. That's okay. You're going to come back here with the Sunkiti to strip it out. So again, see, if I go here like this, I try and get it out. He turns his wrist there, so I got to come back this way with the Sunkiti to get it out. All right. As I do it, I can also use my shoulder. Anytime you do these, if I aim my shoulder at Guro Joey, protect your face. See, I can aim it and pop it at him. Again, it's not going to kill him. It's just going to distract him long enough to set me up for what I want to do next. The strips can come from almost any angle. He can give me an angle too. See, again, the strip would be here, assisting here, assisting here. All right? You can strip any way you want. Again, you can go back into your locking. All right? Some strips empty hand from the angle one. See, stripping here. All right. Stripping against with the leg. Okay, I'm just doing a double parry. This is very common. Parry, parry. See, I'm grabbing the hand. Can strip with the inside leg. All right. Parry, parry. This is one of my favorites. They drag down and step. Now, the nice thing about that one is if he doesn't let go, what's going to happen? He's going to crush his fingers on the ground. You can knee him right in the face and, just keep assaulting from there. So that's a very good technique. And then, of course, the behind the neck. Everybody loves this one. They go right here behind the neck and strip that off. See, they can hit, and oftentimes they're attempting to break the arm from here, hitting, locking, taking down. You can do that with a blade. We've practiced it with a blade. You can do that with a blade. We're going to ignore that because I have one more. You can also make him disarm himself. This is worth ignoring the background music to see. If I can be out of here and place and he punches, you can make him disarm himself. So you want to keep in mind, you want to be thinking about all the different ways that you can make these disarms work. All right, let me do that one more time, that way we can just edit this back in. So if it's a cambiata, let's say, he punches, I can make him disarm himself. Oh, you okay? Caught it on the toes. There you go. My advantage. All right, so you can make them disarm themselves. The idea is just get to practicing. Now, here's another principle, real quick. Remember I said impacting. In other words, if I get here, try and hit that hand, loosen them up while you're trying to get that out. Another thing, or another principle that you want to remember, is what we call the give and take. If Guro Joey disarms me here with the snake, rather than stand here and, don't take it out, I'm just going to take his. It's a give and take. He wants mine, fine. He can have mine. I'm more interested in him getting mine so that I can get his. Because if I abandon mine in the process of him taking it, that gives me the opportunity to get his. Now, at least there's one stick for us to fight amongst, right? So depending on how we take that out. Uh-oh. And when you spar, you'll learn you need to kick the weapons away. Now, that's another good point. One of the things we do at Tribe K is that if the weapon is kicked out of the sparring area, it's no longer allowed to be used. What that does is it forces the students to really look at and focus on making sure to kick the weapon away when you disarm it. That's important, because when you're in a street fight, I can't tell you how many times the Dog Brothers, in the Gathering of the Pack, the Dog Brothers videos, in the Gathering of the Pack, you'll see guys disarm a weapon, it gets hit, craftily knocked out, they wind up on the ground and one of the guys happens to reach over and he regains his own weapon. Yeah. Whereas if they had that training, when they see that weapon on the ground, to make sure to kick it out of the way. And there are guys on those, in those pack gatherings that do that. And that's really important. That's definitely important in a street fight. Not likely you're going to fight stick to stick in a street fight. So you have to look at a lot of this as how am I going to apply a lot of this empty hand. So see, if he has a weapon and I don't, now it's, how can I apply this way to take that out, you see, and use this in a self-defense method. See, again, same thing. I didn't make sure to clear it. So it just depends on how you're going to do it. Make sure you practice doing these with your legs. We looked at this earlier in the level 1 curriculum. All right, so if I'm here down on my back and he attempts to attack, I want to be able to stop that motion, come in, there's my snake. See that? See, same thing. I want to be able to stop that motion. He comes in, I want to be able to stop it. And maybe this time I try to snake it up this way. Doesn't work, come back over this way, see? It's the same principles. You just have to learn how to apply them. And how do you do that? You practice, you play with it. Thank you very much.